Hi, I'm Erin. I'm 27 years old and I'm from Columbus, Ohio. I grew up in a really awesome home with loving parents that took me to church and taught me about Christ, and they made me feel valuable and loved my whole life. I've struggled with my weight my entire life, and I grew up comparing myself to my older brother. So insecurity and a lack of self-worth came into my life at a young age. As I got older, I began to reach outside of myself to fill that void, that just lack of value. As I went into high school, I searched for value through men, and because of all that insecurity, I found such a release through drugs and alcohol. I kind of felt like I finally had some sort of identity, and I felt more confident when I was under the influence. I lived a complete double life. All throughout the week, I would be using marijuana and I would be partying on the weekends. And then on Sundays, I would go to church with my parents and I would sing in the worship band, and I would get convicted all the time because I knew how I was living wasn't right. And I felt like such a fraud because I really didn't know who I was. And the way I was living just reinforced that. I lived one way during the week and another way on Sundays. And I just knew it wasn't how God had called me to live, but at the same time, it made me feel better about myself, and I just got lost in that. As I went through high school, I continued to experiment with more drugs, in and out of abusive relationships, which just continued to lower my self-worth. But I did well in school. I graduated at the top of my class, and I got a scholarship to go to Bowling Green State University. So I packed up and headed off to college, thinking that if I started over somewhere, maybe I could reinvent myself. As I went into college, I did okay, but I got lost in partying once again. And this is when depression and darkness and heaviness just became a huge part of my life. By my junior year, I was so depressed. I couldn't get out of bed. I stopped going to class. I was getting ready to fail out, so I left school and I went home and I decided I was gonna try to get some help for my depression. When I got home, instead of getting any help for that, I just got involved with some friends that introduced me to pain pills. Pain pills became a part of my life, and after a few months, I was using heroin intravenously, and that's when my life completely crumbled. So about 5 years ago, I was tired of living the way I was living, and my family was too. They said, if you don't get help, you can't live at our home anymore. And thus began a 5-year spree of being in and out of treatment facilities, all different medications, psychiatrists, counselors. I was just searching for something, and I remember saying to my mom and dad, there has to be something that can help me. Like, what am I missing? There's something that I'm missing. And through all of this, I finally came to a point where my parents said, do you want to come to Teen Challenge? So I came to Teen Challenge, and what I realized was it wasn't something that I was missing. It wasn't some medication or a certain counselor. It was a relationship with someone, and that someone was Jesus Christ. And when I was reintroduced to a Savior, I learned that I had so much more value than I had ever given myself credit for. I learned that I didn't have to do anything to earn His love, that I just was, and that was enough. And when you experience that love for the first time, like I said, I grew up learning about Jesus and I had knowledge of Him, but I experienced His love, and it changed everything for me. Since being here, I've rediscovered that different talents I have, and I learned who I am as a person. God is helping me to find myself and discover my true identity. And Since coming, I've realized that God has a call in my life, that I wasn't just called to just be a drug addict. And ever since I started trying to get clean and sober, all I could say was like, I just want to get sober so I can have a normal life. I just want to be normal. And now it's like God's calling me to something greater. My life might not look normal to the outside world, but he has a calling on my life, and I'm excited to see what it is and where he's going to take me. And if it wasn't for Teen Challenge, I never would have had the opportunity to experience that.